Happy holidays to everyone. I'm Bill Lindsay, the Richmond City Manager, and I've been asked by KCRT to do something that will help perhaps get everybody into the holiday mood. So I'm going to do a Christmas carol, and don't worry, I'm not going to sing, but I will present the 12 Days of Christmas, Richmond Style. This is something that I've done now for the last 6 years, or last 5 years. This is the 6th annual 12 Days of Richmond. I've done it now for the Chamber of Commerce's Breakfast for Business event that they have annually in December. And back when I started in 2008, I was having trouble at one point organizing my thoughts and was thinking about different things to review about the year 2008 and looking forward. And the numbers just sort of fell into place, and so I put it into this 12 Days of Richmond. That was the very first one. It doesn't really get any easier to do that. It's actually sometimes hard to do, hard to think of the numbers. But I can tell you that I really do enjoy it. It's fun to do. It gives me an opportunity to reflect back on the year, in this case 2013, and to look forward to the year ahead in terms of some of the issues that are facing the city of importance. So if you remember the song, or know the song 12 Days of Christmas, you remember that not all the gifts were great, especially when they get into the birds like the hens and the swans and the geese. So it's not always, they're not always great gifts, but so it's not a highlight reel. Some of these gifts are not great, but they are nonetheless under the tree for us to at least appreciate or know about. And it goes to individual taste. Some people will like them, some people won't, but you'll get a flavor of that. Also, one thing you'll notice is that it doesn't go necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4. It goes in terms of sometimes it's 1,000, 2 million, 300,000. You'll see what I mean, because sometimes it's hard to get things down into small numbers. And finally, for our attorneys, this is something that is I'm using Christmas as a secular term, not trying to violate the Establishment Clause of the Constitution. So with that disclaimer, I will go ahead with the 12 Days of Christmas, Richmond Style. On the first day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me one great home front for business. Now, I don't know if you've seen it, but the City of Richmond partnered with the Richmond Convention and Visitors Bureau and also with the San Francisco Business Times to create a special advertising supplement to their September issue and produced the publication Richmond, Your Home Front for Business. It's an advertising supplement. It's designed to highlight the diverse burgeoning industries that are recognizing Richmond as really a terrific place in which to do business. Richmond has a strategic central location, sensible real estate values, it has tax incentives, and a welcoming climate, all very much contributing factors to the city's broad-based business and industrial growth. We've seen how Richmond can be a real welcoming community when it worked hard to bring the Richmond Bay campus into Richmond. The city has diverse neighborhoods, pristine marinas, recreational and cultural amenities, and more miles of shoreline than any city in the Bay Area, and it really makes Richmond among the most unique communities in California. I personally spent a great deal of time working with our staff, in particular Janet Johnson and Michael Verdi, helping to put this together. It was really a lot of fun because putting together a positive piece about all of Richmond's great assets was really enjoyable. And it was also very interesting working with the staff members of the San Francisco Business Times, because as they were putting together that document, were really discovering Richmond for the first time, reading about these many assets, and it really emphasized for me that Richmond is the Bay Area's best kept secret in terms of the opportunities. On the second day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me $2 million for the West County Family Justice Center. The City of Richmond did a $2 million lease financing to allow construction to begin on the future home of the West Contra Costa Family Justice Center. It's intended to be a haven for victims of domestic and sexual violence, and we feel that it will serve as a national model for violence prevention. The new center is expected to open next fall in 2014. It's a 7,200 square foot facility on 24th Street, walking distance to BART nearby the Civic Center. And there, people will be able to meet with police, counselors, and attorneys. They can obtain emergency shelter and safe housing and get job placement help. The West County Family Justice Center is a joint effort by numerous public, private, nonprofit organizations to aid victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, elder abuse, child abuse, and human trafficking, and also assist their families. The goal is to break the cycle of violence at home, to make the community safer by giving people easy access to services in a single location. This is really a great project. It's a very important project, and it was spearheaded by our police department. And I think it's a good example of how our police department really thinks outside the box in improving community safety. It's not just about patrolling neighborhoods, but it's about prevention and creative ideas to aid in that. On the third day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me 300 volunteers rebuilding Belding-Garcia Park. On Saturday, October 26, more than 300 volunteers helped rebuild Belding-Garcia Playground located in the Belding-Woods neighborhood. This was the culmination of 3 months of planning from groups that included Pogo Park, which is a local nonprofit, the National Philanthropic Organization Kaboom, the City of Richmond, community members, especially from the Belding-Garcia neighborhood, and Livy and Luca, which is a children's shoe purveyor, and they were the generous funder that provided the money to help support that build day through Kaboom's organization. 300 community members were divided into 8 different building projects that included building a new playground, building picnic benches, which was my particular work team, constructing a shaded picnic area structure, building a sandbox, constructing a seat wall, painting a pathway, painting the future site of a skate park, and also planting trees and plants throughout the area. There was a great deal of generosity involved with the Belding-Garcia Park project, and that really ensured a successful outcome. Contributing groups included Kaiser, Overa Construction, Public Allies, Richmond Build, the school district. There were also a lot of businesses involved helping to sponsor this event. CJ's Barbecue, Catahoula Coffee, Angelo's Deli, Little Louie's, New York Bagels, Cliff Bar, Trader Joe's, Foodsco, Mountain Mike's Pizza. It's a long list. Costco, Starbucks, Mac 5 Construction, and lending some construction management assistance. Pete's Coffee and Tea, Zoe's Cookies, and also several East Bay Lions Club chapters, and finally the Carpenters Union. We did have some skilled work out there building that shade structure. What I learned from that particular project is that if we can organize and mobilize volunteers like we did for Belding-Garcia, we can replicate this program, perhaps 1 park per year, and build community as we rebuild our parks. So stay tuned. It's something we want to continue to work on. I also have another gift for 3, but unfortunately it's a bit of a lump of coal. On the third day of Christmas, Richmond also gave to me a $3 million operating budget deficit. Within a week of adopting a balanced operating budget for fiscal year 2013-14, we received news from the county assessor that our assessed values had declined. Not just that we were getting less revenue than we expected, but actually we were going to have a reduction in property tax revenues. Part of that decline was due to the refinery fire in August of 2012, but part of the decline was simply due to a less than favorable appraisal of the residential and commercial markets in terms of the valuation. So we're currently working with the school district to study the changes in assessed valuations. This is something that's important to the school district as well. And from a budgetary point of view, we need to continue to monitor our property taxes, but also closely monitor our sales tax growth, and get this budget balanced for the following fiscal year. Right now, we can use our reserves to make it work, but in the long term, we need to look at increasing our revenues or reducing our expenditures. On the fourth day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me 4 partners in the Richmond Health Equity Partnership. In March of 2012, the Richmond Health Equity Partnership formed, and it included the City of Richmond, Contra Costa County Health Department, the West County Unified School District, and also uniquely UC Berkeley, in an effort funded by the California Endowment, and the goal is to collaborate across our various sectors of responsibility and advance health equity in the City of Richmond. Health equity is looking at achieving the highest level of health for all people. It entails focusing efforts to address avoidable inequities and inequalities, especially for those who've experienced socioeconomic disadvantage or historical injustices. It should be noted, compared to the rest of Contra Costa County, Richmond has high rates of health disparities, and as a result, residents experience drastic health inequities. If you look at the comparison between Richmond and other population groups, the rates of diseases are particularly high. The income inequality, other economic forces, education quality, environmental conditions all influence that, and all of our 4 organizations are really focused to try to make that change through the Health Equity Partnership. This is something that also really fosters these agencies, different government agencies, breaking down what might be traditional silos and really working together on common goals. On the 5th day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me 5.4 million square feet for the Richmond Bay campus. As you know, or as I hope you know, the University of California the Richmond Field Station has been selected as the preferred site for the second campus of the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory and University of California, Berkeley, and it's a project now known as the Richmond Bay campus. The long-range development plan for the Richmond Bay campus and the draft program EIR for this development have just been released, and the EIR is now in the official public comment stage. The long-range development plan for the site is for 5.4 million square feet of modern research and development facilities and 10,000 people, with a project that would be phased in over about a 40-year period. Significantly, LBNL would only occupy about 40% of that space, which means that UC Berkeley and other private facilities are making a big investment in development of the campus. So it's not just a second campus for the lab, it's a new campus for UC Berkeley. The development of the Richmond Bay campus has been described as a transformative, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the East Bay and certainly for the City of Richmond. Our goal here in Richmond is to intentionally capture the economic benefits of the Richmond Bay campus. There are opportunities for the city to leverage the economic benefits by developing an organized local supply chain, doing workforce training, providing goods and services that can support bioscience companies. It includes developing and nurturing a commercial network that focuses on the Richmond Bay campus's primary science and the related workforce activities. And it also includes branding and advertising the City of Richmond as a place of national prominence in the bioscience sector. We also want to tap into University of California and LBNL's broader research mission to improve local educational opportunities for Richmond's youth in partnership with the school district. Not only are we very much involved working with UC Berkeley and LBNL with the Richmond Bay campus, we're doing a specific plan for the 200+ acres that surrounds the Richmond Field Station. We are also doing a transportation plan to make it, to have efficient transportation systems serve that area. Both of these planning studies are grant funded. It's unfortunately a tough funding climate in Washington for funding new starts for science labs. But nonetheless, UC Berkeley and LBNL they haven't broken stride in getting their entitlements. They are looking perhaps at getting certification of the EIR by the Board of Regents in May of 2014. So we'll be doing a lot of work on that. I think that it's very important and significant that UC Berkeley's new Chancellor, Chancellor Dirks, mentioned this project as one of his priorities as part of his inaugural remarks, and I don't think it should go unnoticed that Chancellor Dirks made it a point to visit Richmond High School to talk about the fact that college is real for Richmond students. On the 6th day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me 6 air monitoring stations. The city worked with the Richmond refinery to provide the Richmond community with real-time air quality data related to the refinery's operation. The initial phase of the Richmond Community Air Monitoring Program includes 3 monitoring stations along the refinery's fence line, and that data is available through a public website, so it can be monitored in real time. The second phase includes 3 community monitoring locations, one at Richmond Fire Station in North Richmond, one at Atchison Village, and one at Washington School in Point Richmond. So altogether 6 points of monitoring air quality. Now I should note that this air monitoring system goes well beyond Bay Area Air Quality District Management standards, and it implements really a very advanced system. In fact, experts have called this system state-of-the-art. Again, we worked very closely with Chevron. I want to compliment Chevron on doing a very thorough job. They had a maximum financial obligation, which they well exceeded in terms of making sure that they had a system that was right, and we had a good working relationship throughout. I think that it is something that will help the community know it is of what is going into the air from the refinery. Chevron also did extensive outreach to the community to tell them what was going on and then working on the siting. So I think that's a good project for us, and it'll be very, very helpful. On the 7th day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me 7 categories of serious crimes reduced. As of December 2013, compared to December of 2012, overall violent and property crimes are both down 5% for the year. Homicide and attempted homicides are both down 11%. And I know that's 2 categories, but I needed a 7, so I combined them. Rape is down 33%, carjacking is down 46%, battery with serious injury down 46%, assault with a deadly weapon is down 46%. Remember, this is over the course of 1 year. Assault with a deadly weapon down 15%, residential and commercial burglaries both down 11%, and vehicle theft down 21%. We know we have a lot of work to do. We've made a significant investment in our police department. These statistics show that we are moving in the right direction in the context of prior years where we also saw reductions. Compliments to our police department for doing a great job. On the 8th day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me 8 school resource officers. So I'll stick with the public safety theme. The Richmond Police Department School Resource Unit is comprised of 8 officers who work the high schools and middle schools middle school of Richmond. 2 officers specifically assigned to Richmond High, De Anza High, and Kennedy High. We also have an officer assigned to Lavagna de Jean Middle School and Gompers Continuation High School. These officers are assigned to provide a safe and secure environment for students and staff members, administrators. It really ensures that no student's right to receive an education is interfered with by violence or other disruption. The program, I think, also demonstrates a partnership that we have with the school district, not just in terms of public safety, but in a lot of areas, in terms of facilities development, facilities planning, looking at full-service community schools. This program provides substantial funding by the school district for Richmond school resource officers. And it not only benefits the school district, but it also benefits the broader Richmond community. And I thank the school district for funding this very important program. On the 9th day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me 9 years of their summer youth employment program. This past summer, YouthWorks completed its 9th annual summer youth employment program. City and community support remains strong, and this year's program was funded and sponsored by the City of Richmond, Chevron, Contra Costa County, Mechanics Bank, the Council of Industries, the Organization for Richmond, Kaiser Optical, Levin Richmond Terminal, Richmond Pacific Railroad, Plant Reclamation, YMCA East Bay, 23rd Street Merchants Association, and the U.S. Conference of Mayors. I wanted to make sure that I got in all the sponsors. Overall, 265 local youth received meaningful career path work experience in opportunities that ranged from the Richmond Department of Recreation to assisting doctors at Doctors Hospital. Each youth received the opportunity to work up to 100 hours. Also new this year, with the assistance of Mechanics Bank, YouthWorks had its first Summer Savings Incentive Program, and this was provided with some assistance by the U.S. Conference of Mayors. 16 Mechanics Bank volunteers provided financial literacy training and assisted in setting up no-fee, no minimum savings accounts. 9 participants also received $100 for saving more than $100, and the top 3 savers received these cash awards. Another gift of 9 was the Rising Sun California Youth Energy Services, which hired 9 participants to work as home energy auditors as part of the Summer Youth Employment Program. They provided funding for hours above and beyond those that were subsidized by the program, and as a result, 264 Richmond households received energy audits and were able to reduce their energy consumption. On the 10th day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me 10 cents for a paper bag, and this one requires a little explanation. This past July, the City of Richmond adopted a single-use bag ordinance to decrease the use of single-use plastic and paper bags. I probably don't have to tell you that plastic bags litter our streets, waterways, and shoreline. Whenever we do an organized litter pickup, either in the creeks or on the shore, one of the major contributors to litter is the plastic bags. They don't easily biodegrade, and they are a persistent pollutant. Also, among the benefits of reducing the use of paper bags is reducing the consumption of energy and water that it takes to turn trees into paper. The City of Richmond ordinance passed by the City Council this last year aims to decrease the use of single-use paper and plastic bags and promote the use of reusable bags on an ongoing basis. So effective January 1st, there's the ordinance prohibits the distribution of single-use plastic bags in retail establishments at the point of sale. That's for all retail establishments except for restaurants. It also requires retail establishments to charge to all customers a minimum of 5 cents for each paper bag distributed at the point of sale. That goes to 10 cents in 2016. So hence the 10 cents per paper bag that'll take effect not next year but in 2016. On the 11th day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me 11 recipients of neighborhood public art mini grants. This past month, 11 local artists, nonprofits, and community groups were awarded neighborhood public art mini grants for arts and culture programs and this was provided and reviewed and granted by the Richmond Arts and Culture Commission. The grant guidelines were to encourage visual and performing arts in the community and to allow participants to learn basic artistic skills by working with professional artists. Eligible categories were visual arts and performing arts, so it ran the gamut in terms of arts and culture. Art is really becoming a recognized and important part of the community development in Richmond. In terms of funding, the City of Richmond devotes 1.5% of funding for capital projects into a community art program so that we develop art as we develop our infrastructure. We also have some great art institutions in the city that we continue to support financially, including the East Bay Center for the Performing Arts, the Richmond Arts Center, and NIAD. Richmond has a wonderful tradition from the arts that we are helping to continue. On the 12th day of Christmas, Richmond gave to me a 12-inch thick concrete band wrapped above the Dornan Drive tunnel's inner lining. Now that's a long one, requires a little explanation. A 12-inch thick concrete band. In September, after months of repairs, the Dornan Drive tunnel, which serves as the main road to Miller Knox Regional Shoreline and the Point Richmond community, reopened to cars, bikes, and pedestrians. The Dornan Drive tunnel is 101 years old, and it closed in February after workers found cracks in the concrete lining of the tunnel's inner surface. They were doing a relining project and discovered these significant cracks. When they investigated further, they found that there was a room-sized void above the tunnel's concrete lining, and workers probably failed to fill that gap during the original construction back in 1912. As a result, the tunnel lining was just 2 inches thick in some areas, and there was no structural reinforcement. So as part of the repair project recently, the city filled this 163 square foot void with concrete grout and reinforced the structure with this 12-inch thick concrete band above the tunnel's inner lining. This, unfortunately, is just an example of a number of costly failures in the city's infrastructure that eat up our maintenance dollars. Another example, which you may remember, was the sinkhole at Villa Verde near El Portel. Now, fortunately, a lot of these repairs can be funded with grants, but not all of it. There's usually a very significant local match that goes along with that. We would much rather put our dollars into preventive maintenance. That's not something all we can do because we do have to respond to these emergency situations, but it does carve into our preventive maintenance budget very substantially, and something we really hope to turn around over the years. So, as they do in the song, it's time to review. For the 12 days of Christmas, Richmond gave to me a 12-inch thick concrete band wrapped above the Dornan Drive tunnel's inner lining, 11 recipients of neighborhood public art mini grants, 10 cents for a paper bag, 9 years of the Summer Youth Employment Program, 8 school resource officers, 7 categories of serious crimes reduced, 6 air monitoring stations, 5.4 million square feet at the Richmond Bay campus, 4 partners in the Richmond Health Equity Partnership, 300 volunteers in rebuilding Belding-Garcia Park, and a $3 million operating budget deficit, $2 million for the West Contra Costa Family Justice Center, and 1 great Homefront for business. I wish the very best of holiday seasons to you and yours, and enjoy a great 2014. Thank you.